Hello friends, welcome to my channel CM's Biology. In this video tutorial, we will learn the most important topic of the chapter human reproduction. So today in this video tutorial, we will discuss about the male reproductive system. So let's start. The male reproductive system. So we know that this is a very important topic on exam point of view, the male reproductive system, and it consists of different parts like the glands with their ducts and supporting structure. It consists of glands with ducts and supporting structures. So here I have the alias of human testis. So I will describe it, and while describing each and every part, I will also tell you the different characteristics and the function of different parts. Okay, so keep focusing on this video tutorial. Here the male reproductive system consists of different glands with their ducts and different supporting structure. So what are the glands? Let's discuss, and what are their supporting structures. Okay, so the first one is the glands. First one, we have different glands along with their ducts. So glands include a pair of testes along with ducts. They includes a pair of testes. Okay, the first and the most important one is a pair of testes, then a pair of seminal vesicle, a pair of seminal vesicles. Third one is a pair of bulbourethral glands, a pair of bulbourethral glands, which are also known as the Cowper's glands. Okay, and we have one prostrate gland, one, not a pair. Okay, here it is single, one prostrate gland. So these are the different important glands which are present in the male reproductive system. The first one is pair of testes, pair of seminal vesicle, pair of bulbourethral glands or the Cowper's gland, and a single prostrate gland. So the duct of testes includes a pair of epididymis. So the ducts includes epididymis. It is present in pair. Then vas deferens. It is also present in pair, and a pair of ejaculatory duct. And with this, a single urethra is present. One urethra. Okay, so these are the important ducts. The ducts associated with these different glands: epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and a single urethra is present in the male reproductive system. So this is the overview. We have some supporting structures also. So what are the supporting structures? The first one is internal supporting structure, and the internal supporting structure is a pair of spermatic curds. The spermatic curd, here it is written, spermatic cord. It is also in pair, and the external supporting structure, external, I am writing here external supporting structures, or there are two external supporting structures, the scrotum or the pouch in which the testis is located, and the penis, the copulatory organ of male. So these are the two important external supporting structure, the scrotum and penis, and the internal supporting structure is the spermatic cord. And these are the different glands, and the glands are associated with different ducts, and the important ducts are epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and urethra. So we will discuss in detail about these now, starting from the structure of testis, the most important organ where the sperm is formed by the process of spermatogenesis, and it is stored there, it gets mature there in the testis, and it becomes motile and comes out during copulation. So let's discuss the most important gland of the male reproductive system, that is a pair of testes. Okay, so let me erase this. These are the important parts of the male reproductive system, starting from testis to the external genital organ or the external supporting organ, that is the penis. Okay, so now we will go in detail about the structure that is on the board, that is the structure of testis, different glands associated with it, and different ducts associated with the testis. So let's discuss testis now. So male gonads or testis begins their development high in abdominal cavity. They are the male gonads. The development starts in the abdomen, in the abdominal cavity during the embryonic stage. It develops inside the abdominal cavity near the kidney. Okay, so its development occurs in the abdomen. During the last 2 months before birth or just after birth, during last 2 months of birth or just after birth, the testis that develop inside the abdominal cavity comes out, descend downward, and now located outside the abdominal cavity in a pouch which we call the scrotum, the external supporting organ. We have discussed the scrotum and penis. The scrotum is the pouch to which, after getting maturation, the testis descend down just before birth or during last 2 months of birth or just after birth, it will come out. Okay, so it will come out, descend through the inguinal canal. So the inguinal canal is located here, from which the spermatic cord comes. So it descend downward outside the abdominal cavity with inguinal canal. Okay, so through this canal, through this inguinal canal, it descend from the abdominal cavity and comes outside, which is situated in the scrotum. Inguinal canal into the scrotum. It descends down into the scrotum, which is the pouch-like structure. A pouch that present externally below the abdominal cavity, and it is located posterior to the penis. Its location is below abdominal cavity, behind penis. Okay, so the pouch is present in which the testis is located. It is present outside the abdominal cavity, so it is vulnerable to injury. It is vulnerable to injury, but it is present outside. It has a reason, and the reason is the sperm cannot grow, cannot be formed in the body temperature. So it comes out of the body, out of the abdomen to that scrotum or the pouch like structure in order to maintain a 3 degree less temperature than that of the body temperature. That is why it is located outside the body, and this 3 degree less temperature provides the best condition for the development of sperm and making it mature and motile. Okay, so that is why it is outside the body, although it is vulnerable to injury. So the incomplete descent, here we should know the incomplete descent of testes on one or both sides in a newborn. A medical term is there for this. If the descent of testis will not occur, that means if the testis will not descend down from the abdominal cavity to the scrotum, then the condition is called cryptorchidism. Okay, so the condition is called as cryptorchidism, which means non-descent of testis, either on both the sides or in a single side. Okay, so it is known as cryptorchidism. Testis remains in abdominal cavity or in the inguinal canal. It will not descend through the inguinal canal to the scrotum. Okay. Next, let's discuss about the structure. The structure of the testis in detail. It is oval in shape. It is oval in shape and a top white fibrous connective tissue capsule. A connective tissue capsule. Top white connective tissue capsule, which we call the tunica albuginea. We call that tunica albuginea, is present surrounding this testis and extends inward to form septa that participate the organ into this tunica albuginea. Present internally, passes to the inner side of the testis, separating the testis into different lobules. They separate the testis and forms different lobules. Okay, there are about 250 lobules. How many lobules? 250 lobules are there in the testis. 250 lobules in the testis. Okay, so 250 in each testis. Each lobule contains 1 to 4. Each of these 250 lobules contain 1 to 4 highly coiled tubes, and they are known as the seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubules. So the seminiferous tubules are located here in the diagram. These highly coiled tubules present inside the testis. There are around 250 lobules in a testis. So these are the different lobules. So there are many lobules like this. Here the testicular lobules are separated with the septum, presence of the septum, which makes the division of the testis into lobules, and in each lobule there are 1 to 4 highly coiled tubular structure which are known as the seminiferous tubules, and all the seminiferous tubule makes a single pipe. They come in a particular lobe. The seminiferous tubules joined together to form rate testis. Okay, so they join together and form a straight tubule which leads to rate testis. So seminiferous tubules unites to form rate testis, which leads to ductals called vasa efferentia. These rate testis. So seminiferous tubules form the rate testis, which unites to form many ductules which are called vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia. So the seminiferous tubules unite to form the rate testis, then they again unite to form the vasa efferentia. So I can write here, it is the vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia. Okay, clear? So next, the interstitial cells. The important thing here is the interstitial cells present in the testis. What are the interstitial cells? These interstitial cells are known as the Leydig cells. So let me erase this, because we know that each testis is having 250 lobules. Each lobule carry 1 to 4 highly coiled tubules, which are called as the seminiferous tubule. The seminiferous tubule unite to form a single tubular structure, which is called the rate testis. Then the rate testis unites to form the vasa efferentia. Okay, so now let's discuss the cells, interstitial cells present in the testis, which we call the Leydig cells. The interstitial cells or the Leydig cell or the cells of Leydig. Okay, so the Leydig cells produce male sex hormone. They are important because they produce male sex hormone. So the male sex hormone is produced by the Leydig cells or the interstitial cells, which are located between the seminiferous tubules. These are located between the seminiferous tubule. In between the seminiferous tubules, these interstitial cells are present, which are known as the Leydig cells, and these Leydig cells help in the production or the secretion of the male sex hormone. Okay, so the seminiferous tubules are located within the lobule, and within each lobule there are also the interstitial cells or the Leydig cells. Okay, so there is no doubt about this. Seminiferous tubules, the fine, small, coiled, teeny lobes, tubes. The tubes that is present in a coiled and forms a coiled structure within each lobule of the testis are known as the seminiferous tubule, where the sperm is manufactured. So the manufacturing unit is the seminiferous tubule. The seminiferous tubules unite to form rate testis. Rate testis unite to form vasa efferentia. Within the seminiferous tubules, there are interstitial cells that are known as the Leydig cells, which helps in the secretion of the male sex hormone. Okay, so they produce the male sex hormones. Next, let's go for the functions of the testis. So what are the important functions of the testis? Function of testis. The most important one, the first one, is they produce and store viable sperms. The most important one is they produce the sperm and store it, and the sperms are viable. Viable means they are living. They have the ability to fertilize the ovum, to produce the zygote, to produce the child. Okay. So the second one is synthesis and secretion of the male sex hormone or the androgenic hormone. synthesis and secretion of androgenic hormone which you call the testosterone. So testosterone is the male sex hormone which is synthesized and secreted with in the testis, and this is one important function which is under the control of the anterior pituitary. It is under control of anterior pituitary, and it is also under the control of the hypothalamus. Anterior pituitary, which is under the control of hypothalamus, and it controls the release or synthesis and secretion of the male sex hormone or the androgenic hormone which we call the testosterone. Okay, so let's move to the different ducts of the testis. These are the important functions: produce and store viable sperm, and secretes and synthesizes the male sex hormone or the androgenic hormone which is the testosterone, which is under the control of the anterior pituitary or the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus controls the secretion. So what are the ducts of testis? What are the different ducts? So we have already discussed some of them in this diagram. So let's discuss the ducts. And before that, let's know what is Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells. So Sertoli cells secretes fluid. It secretes the fluid, and this fluid that is secreted by the Sertoli cells generate a pressure. It will generate pressure which pushes the sperm, which pushes the sperm and fluid along, and the fluid present with the sperm along the lumen of seminiferous tubule, and then into series of various small tubules, and very short ducts are called straight tubules, through which it travels through the rhabdotestis to the vasa efferentia, then the epididymis, then vas deferens, and finally goes through the spermatic cord to the urethra. Okay, so first we will discuss about the epididymis. So it is the main part where many small tubules form a network like structure. So the epididymis, the head is here near the vas efferentia, and this is the tail. So the epididymis is a very important, and the most of the part is occupied by the epididymis, and it has a very important role also. So let's discuss epididymis, which is a comma-shaped structure. Epididymis. Okay. So this is a comma-shaped 4 centimeter long structure. 4 centimeter long. It is 4 centimeter long structure. It is present at the posterior border of the testis. If we will take the testis and the posterior border, if this is the testis, at the posterior border it is present like this, covering the testis in one side. Okay, so it is present in the posterior border of the testis. It is the site of sperm maturation. Sperm maturation occurs here. It is the site of the maturation of sperm. As I have told you, the sperm is formed in the seminiferous tubule, and after its formation it comes out through the vasa efferentia to the epididymis, where the sperm gets mature. Okay, that means it acquires motility and able to fertilize. So it acquires motility here, becomes motile, acquires motility and able to fertilize what? The ovum. So this ability is gained by the sperm. When it gets mature, it becomes motile, and the ability to fertilize the ovum to form the zygote comes in the epididymis. So it has important role in this aspect. This occurs over a period of about 40 days. It needs about 40 days to become the newly manufactured sperm become mature within these 14 days. So let's discuss about the ductus deferens or the vas deferens now. The vas deferens is the next part of the epididymis. So before that, let's discuss the different parts of the epididymis. What are the different parts of epididymis? The parts are caput, corpus and cauda. So this is the caput. Then the centrally located is the corpus. And finally the tail is the cauda. Okay, so the head part is known as the caput, then the middle part is the corpus, and we know that tail or the last part is the cauda epidermis. So the epidermis can be divided into three different parts: caput, corpus and cauda. After cauda, the pipes, the tubules united to form a larger or having a diameter larger than that of the epididymis, which is called the vas deferens. So let's discuss the vas deferens or the ductus deferens. So vas deferens is also called as the ductus deferens. Ductus deferens. We can also write here as vas deferens. Okay, within the tail of epididymis, within the tail means the cauda of epididymis, the ductus epididymis becomes less convoluted. It becomes less convoluted. In the epididymis, it is more coiled or more convoluted. But when it comes to the caudal region, it becomes minimized. Okay, and its diameter increases. I have told you the diameter of the vas deferens is more. So in the cauda region, the epididymis is having a larger diameter than that of the corpus and caput. So here the larger diameter, and now in the vas deferens it will be more larger. So the diameter increases. Beyond this point, the duct is now known as the ductus deferens or the vas deferens. Okay, when the diameter increased and the epididymis now become less coiled. So the dilated terminal portion of ductus deferens is ampulla. So the ampulla is the dilated terminal portion of the ductus deferens. It is known as the ampulla. In the biological word, all the part of a single, if you will discuss about a single structure, the wider part of that structure is known as the ampulla. Okay, so ductus deferens conveys sperm during sexual excitement from epididymis towards the urethra. From epididymis, it will take the sperm, the mature sperm, during sexual excitement from this epididymis towards the urethra, and it connects from the epididymis to the urethra, which connects the vas deferens. So vas deferens or the ductus deferens is the connection between epididymis and urethra, and as we know, the mature and motile sperm is stored in the epididymis. During sexual intercourse, it will come out, the sperm will come out through this vas deferens or ductus deferens to the urethra and ejects out. And the movement is just like, it's the movement we can say is peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement. As we know, in case of the digestive system also, the food passes through the alimentary canal by peristaltic movement. It is the contraction relaxation movement or push and pull movement. So in this case also, the peristaltic movement is seen while the sperm passes through the vas deferens. Next is the spermatic cord. Here it is the spermatic cord from which the testicular artery, testicular vein and vas deferens comes down to the scrotum. So the spermatic cord is the connection between the abdominal cavity upward and into the scrotum downward. So through this spermatic cord only, all the important circulatory nervous system and the ducts that will carry the sperm all comes downward into the scrotum. So you can see here the testicular artery, the testicular vein and the spermatic cord which comes downward into the scrotum through this spermatic cord. It is the supporting structure of male reproductive system. So the spermatic cord is the supporting structure of male reproductive system that helps in making a connection between the abdominal cavity and the scrotum. Okay, it consists of vas deferens. What are there in it? The vas deferens. Then what is the testicular artery and vein. Okay, vas deferens, testicular artery, vein and also the supply of nerve, that is the autonomic nerves and lymphatic vessels. Autonomic nerves and lymphatic vessels. Okay, so lymphatic vessels and autonomic nerves are also supplied to the scrotum, to the testis with the help of the spermatic cord. So it helps in providing support. Next is the ejaculatory duct. So ejaculatory duct is present in the abdominal cavity. It is not in this diagram. So the ejaculatory duct is connected with this vas deferens. So the vas deferens open to the ejaculatory duct. It is a very small duct. It is a very small duct of 2 centimeter long. Okay, which is called the ejaculatory duct. It is formed of union of ducts from seminal vesicle and ampulla of vas deferens. As I told you, the anterior part of vas deferens is known as the ampulla. It is the ampulla of vas deferens, and the wider part means vas deferens goes through this spermatic cord to the abdomen, where it becomes wider. At the wider part, it is connected with the ejaculatory duct. Vas deferens, the diameter will increase at the anterior most part, and it is known as the ampulla of vas deferens. And another thing is added to it, that is the seminal vesicle or the duct of seminal vesicle, which carry the different fluid which we call the semen. So the fluid, it contains the fluid, and the addition of the fluid to the sperm will form the semen. Okay, so the vas deferens, the ampulla of the vas deferens in the abdominal cavity is joined to the duct of seminal vesicle, where the two ducts unite and the ejaculatory duct is formed, which is only 2 centimeter long. Now the last part is the urethra. The ejaculatory ducts opens into the urethra, and now, as I have told you, the epididymis, from the epididymis the sperm will be connected to the urethra with the help of vas deferens, and between the vas deferens and the urethra there is the ejaculatory duct, only a 2 centimeter long pipe. Then it opens to the last part, that is the urethra. Okay, the last part of the pipe, the system which started from this seminiferous tubule will run through the scrotum and now enters the abdominal cavity and finally opens through the ejaculatory duct to the urethra. In man, the passage, it is the passage for both urine and semen. So both urine and semen comes out from our body. In case of human male, we are talking about male. So human male, both the urine and semen comes out through the urethra, okay, which passes through the penis, which is the external genital organ. And this urethra is about 20 centimeter or 8-inch long. So this is the last part through which the sperm will come out from our body through the opening of the penis, and this tube is called the urethra. And in case of human male, both the urine and semen comes out from the body through this urethra. So it is a common passage for both urine and semen. So this is all about the different important parts of the male reproductive system. So finally I will draw a flow chart like structure, so that we can easily learn how the sperm comes from the testis, what is the way. So it is manufactured in the seminiferous tubule. Okay, seminiferous tubules, many tubule are there. So from the seminiferous tubule, it opens to network of tubules known as the rhatetestis. Okay, the rhatetestis. Then it will travel to the vasa efferentia. The vasa efferentia. Okay, from the vasa efferentia, it comes to the epididymis. Okay, from the epididymis, it will go from the head part or the caput, then corpus, then cauda. Okay, it is all the part of the epididymis, the caput or head first, then corpus or middle part, and cauda or the tail part or the last part. From the epididymis, it will go to the vas deferens. Okay, from the vas deferens, through the ampulla of vas deferens, it is connected to the wider part of the vas deferens, that is the ampulla. Then it is connected with the ejaculatory duct, and after ejaculatory duct, it is connected to the urethra. Which is the last part, that is the urethra, and here the prostate gland and Cowper's gland opens. To the urethra, the opening of prostate and Cowper's gland open, and the secretion also opens to the urethra, and then it passes out through the penis to outside. So this is the flow chart. We will start from the seminiferous tubule where the sperm is manufactured, then it comes to the rhatetestis, then the vas efferentia, then the epididymis. Here it is stored and matured. mature, means here it will get the mobility and it is able to fertilize. Then through the vas deferens it comes out when during sexual intercourse or sexual excitement from the epididymis, from the stored sperm will come out through the vas deferens to the ejaculatory duct and to the urethra and finally to outside. So this is how the different parts of testes and the location of testes, shape of the testes, why it is located outside the abdominal cavity, what are the different ducts associated with different glands, and how the testis manufactures the sperm and makes it mature and motile so that it will come out and take part in the process of fertilization. So this is all about the testis and different ducts associated with it. Thank you very much. In the next class, we will discuss more about the human male reproductive system. If you have any doubts, please comment below. If you like this session, please hit the like button because it encourages me for making more videos. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you.